This is ABC15 Mornings.
This weekend, more rallies planned across the valley and the nation. In a few days, George Floyd will be laid to rest. And for weeks and months to come, a decision about race and policing happening in our living rooms. Where does everything go from here?
And way better than expected. The economists were wrong. The country actually adding jobs last month. The unemployment rate dropped and the stock market is predicted to surge. President Trump also expected to talk about the new numbers later this morning, Kaylee.
I think that's one of those numbers, too, that those predictors who had expected bad are probably happy that they were wrong on, right? I mean, it is great news to see that more jobs were added. More than 1 million. And we'll talk more about those numbers momentarily. We want to talk about your numbers for the weekend because we've got some good numbers in our forecast as well. Let's check in with Iris Hermosillo after a couple of hot days, my friend. Thank you for the payoff.
Yeah, we're going to see some changes eventually. Today's still going to be hot, but we will be cooling off. And the clouds that we're seeing this morning also playing a role here as they are associated with the storm system that's going to cool us off. Now, right now, I wanted to start off by showing you this gorgeous view of our sunrise this morning. This came in to my email inbox, and you can still send in your photos to share at abc15.com. Want to shout out Marion for sending this our way. We had some gorgeous color this morning. Not seeing as much color now, but the clouds are still there here to start the day. On this Friday, we are kicking off the day with temperatures in the 80s. Phoenix Sky Harbor at 88 degrees. It's 81 in Chandler, 84 in Mesa, and low 80s in Glendale and in Goodyear. Today is still going to be hot, so certainly don't let your guard down when it comes to the heat. Our high temperature will climb to 107, but a quick peek at the weekend will show you that we've got 90s in store tomorrow through early next week. But we have to talk about today's rain chances and the winds and the fire danger. All of that is still ahead. Want to say good morning, though, to Chelsea Davis.
Hey, good morning, Iris. Good morning to all of you. Happy Friday. We made it. Overall, just letting you know, traffic looks pretty good with our Valley freeways. We only have a couple trouble spots. One of them is on I-10 in the eastbound direction closer to Dysart, but as you're trying to enter at Litchfield Road, that's really where that on-ramp is where you're going to see the activity. It was an earlier semi that was on fire. So as crews are working to clear all of that, the right lane and maybe even 2 right lanes will be blocked. So stay left between the 303 and 101, factor in 5 to 10 extra minutes and you'll be good to go. We have an ADOT camera to show you though. State Route 51 southbound. It was originally reported near Union Hills, then closer to Bell. There is reports of a dog on the freeway, and you're going to see a sign saying, hey, watch out, animal on the freeway. So just putting it on your radar to be extra careful there.
Okay, thank you very much, Chelsea. Appreciate it. Almost 3 minutes past the hour now. Across the nation, protests continue for George Floyd, the Minneapolis man who died in police custody. And it comes as we are getting new details about the other officers involved in his death. Hey, here's ABC's Inez de la Catera with the latest.
Overnight, a fresh wave of protests, hundreds marching in Chicago. In Atlanta, officers in riot gear as protesters there broke the 9 p.m. curfew. This video from Buffalo showing what appears to be a police officer pushing an elderly man to the ground. 2 officers now suspended as the department investigates. In New York, NYPD detaining protesters at Washington Square Park. But earlier in Brooklyn, thousands kneeling long before the speaker started to address the crowd that continued to swell. They cheered, clapped in unison, and called out the name of George Floyd, his brother Terrence showing his appreciation.
I'm proud of the protests.
This as 3 of the 4 Minneapolis police officers involved in Floyd's death appeared in court. Officers Tao Thao, Alexander Kyung, and Thomas Lane each facing charges that include aiding and abetting second-degree murder. The man with his knee on Floyd's neck, Officer Derek Chauvin, charged with second- and third-degree murder. Kyung's attorney saying he was only on his 3rd shift as a full-time officer and that he told officers, you shouldn't do this. Lane's lawyer saying it was his 4th day on the job, saying he asked Chauvin twice, should we roll him over? Meanwhile, in Minneapolis, a celebration of Floyd's life.
We want justice for George.
The city's chief of police taking a knee as the body of George Floyd passed by in the hearse.
It's time for us to stand up in George's name and say, get your knee off our necks.
And George Floyd will be buried next week in Houston. Inez de la Catera, ABC News, Washington.
And so tonight will mark the 9th evening we see demonstrations in downtown Phoenix. We're also seeing rallies in several of our suburbs as well. Protesters honoring George Floyd and Deion Johnson and calling for changes when it comes to policing. Our Mark Thompson is joining us live right now, and demonstrators are calling for leaders to join them on the streets. Good morning, Mark.
Good morning, Justin. That is exactly right. And nationwide, we've seen a lot of prominent activists get out and join some of these marches. But now many are calling for President Trump and Joe Biden to go out and show a solidarity as well and get out there on the streets. Now, we are hearing for similar calls for protesters here in the Valley, several asking for Mayor Kate Gallego and Chief Jerry Williams and Governor Doug Ducey to come out and listen. They're calling out for elected officials and law enforcement leaders to reach out to the community.
And we need Governor Ducey out here. We want to see the mayor out here, and we want to see them stand with us, and we want change.
What I'm hearing is that people are sickened by what happened, and I share that emotion and feeling as well. They're asking for change, and they're asking for reform.
I saw the same things in their eyes that I think everybody was feeling, irrespective of if we're wearing a uniform or if we were wearing a hoodie. Everybody was upset. Everybody was hurt, and you know, I feel like I got some credit for that, but I really felt like the young man and the young people in the crowd who allowed me to talk and communicate with them should have gotten credit.
And those protests, they are scheduled to continue throughout the weekend. Tonight's rally in downtown Phoenix is scheduled for 5 o'clock. Now, since Sunday, Phoenix police have not made any further arrests. Reporting live this morning, Mark Thompson, ABC15 Arizona. Back to you.
All right, Mark, thank you. Almost 7 minutes past now, and happening this morning, African-American owned businesses in our community are coming together for a forum. They are hoping to shed some light on their economic power here in our state. And our Carla Navarrete is live with a preview of what they are hoping to discuss and also hoping to accomplish. Good morning.
Yeah, good morning to you. We're at Bryant Commercial Real Estate here in the central part of Phoenix, where the owner, an African-American woman, says she is an activist behind the scenes. She and other business leaders are bringing to the forefront the issue at hand and bringing up entrepreneurship and solidarity for the African-American business community during this time. Now, she says today they will have doctors, they will have insurance agents, a children's academy director, technology company owners, all African Americans coming forward and giving of themselves in a forum happening at 10 o'clock this morning, answering questions about their community.
Even though there's a majority shortfall in funding for minority businesses, we are built on tenacity. We are built on grit. We have not had things that were handed to us, and we're not looking for handouts. We're looking to just be identified and viewed equally to our counterparts.
Now, the goal of the forum is to shed light on African-American owned businesses in the Valley and promote them. One company, a public relations firm, Brand Consortium, they are donating $100,000 to African-American businesses looking to promote and to stand out in the community. For now, reporting live in Central Phoenix, I'm Carla Navarrete, ABC 15 Arizona.
Alrighty, thank you very much, Carla. So Arizona State University responding to concerns about hiring on Sonia Dewey. She's the new dean of the Walter Cronkite School of Journalism, but some students at her former school, Loyola University in New Orleans, claim they experienced racist treatment by her. Some Cronkite students are circulating a petition to remove her. A spokesperson for ASU sending us this statement saying, "Our commitment to diversity and inclusion is unwavering at Arizona State University. We will be looking into the concerns brought to our attention." Dewey has not commented on the claims or her future at ASU.
We continue to follow the latest with the coronavirus pandemic in our state. These latest numbers showing nearly 23,000 confirmed cases in Arizona. And we have lost 996 people to the virus. You can see the number of cases going up by nearly 3,000, and that is just since Monday. Today, another round of casinos are going to reopen in our state with new safety precautions in place. Desert Diamond Casino, that big one near Glendale, will welcome guests back starting at 1. All employees and all of you who plan to visit, you have to wear a mask and your temperature will be checked. Seating, by the way, will be reduced at tables and more space is placed between slot machines. Up next here on this Friday morning on ABC 15, 43 million Americans have filed for unemployment benefits since March. And even with more businesses reopening, some employers can't get their workers to come back. We'll talk about why.
Plus, it's a simply cooking device to help you boil or help you hard boil eggs in less time. But is it bull or no bull? Our Chelsea Davis putting the rapid egg cooker to the test.
ABC 15 Desert Drive Time, sponsored by Accident Law Group.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome back. Happy Friday, or Friday, as I like to say. I've been watching the roadways, and our valley freeways are showing mostly green flows. Before I show you one of our ADOT cameras, just want to briefly mention that on State Route 51 in the southbound direction closer to Bell Union Hills, we had a dog that was out on the roadway. I heard that the dog exited the freeway at Union Hills Drive, so fingers crossed that the dog makes it home safely eventually. And also a small crash on I-17 northbound as you're getting closer to State Route 169. So if you're heading up north right now, the left lane is blocked up there, but it's in the clearing stages. Let's go ahead and look at that ADOT camera. I-10 eastbound, this is over by Litchfield Road. If you're using the Litchfield on-ramp, it's not going to happen. It's completely blocked now. All these crews are out there responding. You can definitely hop back onto the freeway at Dysart, or you could use the surface streets, McDowell or Van Buren. But I have to say, it has improved in the last 10 minutes or so. We're seeing a little bit of yellow flows on the maps between the 303 and the 101. So it's only going to slow you down maybe 5 minutes. Just factor in that extra time. Or again, you can use those alternates to get by.
All right, thanks, Chelsea. Let's talk about that most accurate forecast here. As we look at downtown Phoenix, we've got plenty of clouds out there, but the sun at least peeking through and shining on downtown here this morning. Big changes setting in weather-wise. Now, today will still be hot, so I don't want you to let your guard down when it comes to heat safety and the risk for heat illness, because it's still elevated as temperatures will still be hot and uncomfortable this afternoon, but we're also going to feel more wind. We're going to keep these clouds around, and there's a chance for rain too. And then we get to look forward to a weekend cool down thanks to this storm system that's bringing the clouds, the winds, and the rain. Now, this morning we were on record watch, and it looks like we're going to tie the record for the warmest low temperature ever recorded on the state. Our temperature dipped down to 85 degrees in that 5 o'clock hour, tying the record for the warmest low temperature ever recorded on today's date. So, unless we go any further, which I don't think we will, it looks like it's going to be a record tied here this morning. So, another fairly warm start to the day. And as you look at those conditions around the valley, we've at least dropped into the 70s in some spots. So that's the good news. Even though Phoenix Sky Harbor is still warm, we're at 79 in Chandler and in Gilbert. It's 78 in Queen Creek, upper 70s in Laveen and Deer Valley, and 77 in Cave Creek. As you look at conditions across the state, we're waking up to 75 in Sedona, 62 in Prescott, and it's 89 at Lake Havasu with temperatures in the mid to upper 70s in spots like Globe and Casa Grande. Now this morning, we're waking up to all of those clouds. They started to move in yesterday. You can still see them here on satellite clouds and radar, but they're associated with that storm system that's going to be sending a cold front into our state. Now, today there's also a chance for rain. I don't think we'll see any this morning, but watch Futurecast as we fast forward into the afternoon. We start to see some of those showers and thunderstorms get going from about central Arizona to the north and to the east. And then going into this evening, we see more of those storms in northern and northeast Arizona, but I think we've got a shot of picking up some storms here in the valley too. They'll be spotty, but the potential is there going into this evening especially, and early tonight before that drier air moves in, and then we're dry for the weekend. So here's how it breaks down by the hour, both rain-wise and also temperature-wise. We'll be back to 100 today by lunchtime. Our high peaks at 107. Certainly not as hot as it was yesterday when we hit 112, but it's still going to be a hot afternoon. Those rain chances starting to climb around midday, but our best potential comes in the evening when we see that 20% chance for rain. Highs around the valley will end up just above 105 in most most valley cities, putting us several degrees above the average high for this time of year, which is 101. 107 today in Phoenix. We'll still reach 110 out at Lake Havasu, 90 in Show Low, and low 80s in Flagstaff. A look at that 7-day forecast shows you that after today, we will get cooler. Highs in the mid to upper 90s this weekend and early next week, and the mornings are going to get colder too. 60s to 70s to start each day. We'll talk more about those winds in just a few minutes.
Okay, Iris, thank you. Today, a virtual protest is being held calling for justice for Breonna Taylor. Back in March, she was shot and killed by Louisville police while she was sleeping in her bed. Officers were executing a search warrant, but had the wrong home. The FBI is now investigating that case. The Senate's most senior Republican now delaying the confirmations for two of President Trump's nominees. Senator Chuck Grassley says he needs to learn more about the president's decision to fire two inspectors general. The IGs were serving as watchdogs for the State Department and intelligence community. And FedEx reportedly joining UPS and adding surcharges for big shippers, with so many of us shopping from home. The Wall Street Journal says these charges will get underway Monday. FedEx says it's to cover the surging costs for the increased number of shipments.
Smart shopper Chelsea Davis here, and I've been getting lots of emails from you wanting me to test out egg makers. So today I'm going to test out the Dashco Rapid Egg Cooker, and I'll let you know if it's bowl or no bowl. We made sure we went through the manual. We checked out the safety instructions, the different components of the device, and of course, the recipe guide that it comes with. Depending on how many eggs you want to cook, the time overall will vary, and you have different options: soft, medium, hard-boiled. We're going to go with hard-boiled, and I'm going to switch up the instructions just slightly. We're going to fill our measuring cup up to hard. Then pour the water onto the heating plate. Place the boiling tray. Now it's bottoms up. Remove the bottom of the measuring cup to reveal the pin, and poke the egg. Place the egg bottom side up. Cover with the lid, but make sure you don't lock it into place. And finally, press the power button. Ours should be done in about 12 minutes. And after about 10 minutes or so, the alarm went off. I turned the unit off, removed the lid, grabbed some tongs, and transferred the egg into an ice bath. After it was cool, I peeled the egg and sliced it right down the middle. It was hard boiled, all right. Next, we're gonna try to poach an egg. So this is the measuring cup. We're gonna fill it to this poach line with water. Add water to the heating plate and then place the boiling tray. As instructed, I added a little oil to the poaching tray, and then I cracked an egg. Then we're placing the poaching tray on the boiling tray. I placed the lid and turned it on. You rang, and only after about 5 minutes. Let's see if it's a good poached egg. I removed the lid, and the perfectly poached egg slid right onto the plate. Ooh, extraordinary results! I bought the Dashco Rapid Egg Cooker on Amazon for a little over $25, but I see them as low as $16 now. So where does the Dashco Rapid Egg Cooker rank on our bowl or no bowl meter? I'm going with no bowl! And if you want to try it out, go to our website, abc15.com/smartshopper.
All right, Chelsea, thank you. 20 minutes past. Up next here on ABC 15 Mornings on this Friday. As unemployment numbers go up, we're going to share why some people are choosing not to go back to work.
And calling for specific change, the two things Arizona's Attorney General says needs to happen immediately when it comes to police in our state. With unemployment benefits under the CARES Act paying $600 per week, returning to work, that can actually mean a pay cut for some employees. And as our Nick Saletti explains, that means business owners may not be getting all of their employees to come back.
Haley Roberts is a server.
I'm super ready to come back to work.
She's ready to wait tables again.
Just to get back to normal, get a schedule.
Getting back to normal could come with a cost.
I'm just hoping that when I come back, it'll kind of just pop back to normal and I'll be making somewhat percentage of what I was making on unemployment.
Roberts qualified for unemployment in March and received a surprise.
It actually helped me a lot. I would just wake up in the morning and I'd be like, whoa, I have a lot in my bank account.
Under the CARES Act, people who lost jobs because of COVID-19 can receive an additional $600 a week on top of their regular unemployment.
I'm going to start putting some of that money towards getting a car.
And she's not the only one seeing extra money. A study from the University of Chicago found 2/3 of workers are making more money on unemployment than they did while working. That makes reopening a challenge.
But after 10 weeks, most of them have been like, yeah, it's time to get back to work. You do have the few that are kind of like, I don't think I'm ready for a couple of weeks. And what they're trying to do is get more unemployment.
Roberts says staying at home was tempting.
I would say I definitely thought about it. I don't really think that you can do that because it's like what unemployment's about. So I don't think it's okay necessarily.
Employment expert Johnny Taylor Jr. says employees could lose their benefits and their jobs altogether if they don't go back.
I caution people to be careful about demanding how the employer is going to conduct its business, provided it gives you a reasonably safe workplace and takes the necessary precautions. If they demand that you come back to work, you've got to come back to work.
In a time where more than 40 million Americans are still searching for work, some will replace rather than rehire.
Kind of said, look, everybody's coming back. If you don't want to come back, we can't promise you there'll be a job.
Nick Saletti, ABC15, Arizona.
And the National Economic Council director says the White House is considering a back-to-work cash bonus to encourage people to actually take back their job.
Well, today, the first Six Flags theme park will reopen in Oklahoma with the help of some new technology to try and minimize coronavirus concerns. All guests are going to walk through thermal imaging devices, which actually raise an alarm if it senses a fever. The metal detectors and turnstiles are also touchless.
There's a lot that's required to compensate for the COVID-19 issues, but at the same time, all the fun rides are still here.
Hundreds of hand sanitizing stations, also hand washing stations, have been put in place. Well, if you want to cruise the Phoenix Zoo, this is the final weekend to do so. Tickets are still available for today and Monday. Next weekend, the zoo will open for members only, and it will be back open for everyone to enjoy June 15th with limited hours. Up next at 6:30, bringing together local entrepreneurs, their businesses, and our community. It is a forum happening today for Black business owners.
And the new jobs report is out, and it is not what anyone expected. Instead of a spike in unemployment, the May jobs gain was the biggest one-month gain in U.S. history since 1939. We're going to explain in just a few minutes.